Yo, what's going on guys? Jack Gardiner here at Young Guitar here in Japan. I hope you're going to enjoy this lesson today. I'm looking forward to digging into it. So let's give this a go. So in today's lesson, I want to talk about sweep picking, but in particular, a slightly different mechanic that people maybe don't focus on as much as they should. When it comes to sweep picking, I think that a lot of guitarists often focus on the downward motion that goes on. So they are thinking of moving this way. Even if that was an economy picking example, they're still focusing on just moving down in terms of the pick strokes. Whereas they neglect the upstroke, they tend to think of it as a way just to reset. So especially if they are doing patterns like, they are just thinking of it as the motion that resets the whole sweep itself. What I want to show you is something that I use as a device, which is where I'm primarily starting with an upstroke to start my sweep pick. So it gives you the opposite of what you maybe necessarily do. To do this, I have an example that is kind of based off a Frank Gambale inspired idea. I use it in a track of mine called Sparky, but the idea is that I take this as my basis. So all there is I am thinking of like G major or E minor. If you think of this in terms of intervals, if you're thinking of G major, I have the root, then I have the fifth, then I have the second, or the ninth, and the root. Now that in itself is a very awkward pattern if you've never done this before. What I am actually doing is rolling with my pinky finger, and then I'm using the third here, and picking. But the picking mechanic is the most important thing here. I start with the up, and then down. But then on the way back, I do the same thing. It almost starts to sound like a video game type thing. It's important though that you are muting. You don't want any string noise, and that's where I think people find the hardest in terms of sweeping up. In terms of what I'm doing then, the pick is slightly angled. I am still in this kind of, I guess you call that like downwards pick slanting grip. But in terms of the muting, everything here is muted by this part of my palm, or I guess it's almost close to the wrist. And depending on how aggressive you want this to sound, you can 1, pick harder, or 2, mute harder. So an open sound doesn't sound as clean, but this. It's never going to be 100% rhythmically accurate. I think that's one thing to bear in mind, especially at speed. It's not like a guy like Matteo Mancuso where he has individual control. We still have to rely on the fact that with a sweep, the accuracy is never 100% guaranteed, but we want to aim to get as close to that as possible. And in order to achieve that, it's a case of trying that mechanic slowly. Almost sounds like where is it? Guns N' Roses. But this is the motion essentially. Then what we can do is apply this to the harmonized scale. So I can build these fourths ideas from each degree. So I can start from G, and I could go up to A, B, C, etc. Sorry. Should be that one. And then we run out of frets, basically. But that's the idea, is that we continue the cycle through the scale. You could go down. And that's the patterns that go on. So I can play different combinations of them. And they are all diatonic to the scale. But what I like to do is to actually play chromatic versions of this, so I get like a real outside sound. Imagine we are playing over E minor. This is essentially where I take the same shape and then I come back into diatonic land. All I am doing is thinking of these as moving in half steps, down or up. into a different pattern to resolve. So, to get away from it. That's evident in there's a track of mine called Spark It, where I start one of the phrases with that literal line. That's what goes on to get me around. But I think this is definitely something to work on. We've only focused on 4 strings at the moment, but you should try this with 6-string ideas as well. One which I use all the time is this. So that is almost like a D major sounding chord. And this is my pattern. It's very hard to mute this. And depending on what aggression level you want, you can either leave it open or you can mute more aggressively. This kind of thing versus. But again, it's all starting on this up, 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 It's a very strange motion if you're not used to that, but it's well worth getting down. Put them together in different combinations. This kind of idea. You can do the same pattern here. You've got these motions. But again, it's just trying to train you to not necessarily just rely on this downward motion all the time. Try the up too. Thank you so much for checking out this mini lesson. My name is Jack Gardiner here at Young Guitar Magazine. Till next time, cheers.